Just inhale and exhale. The beautiful golden light covering your whole body. Covering your mind. And covering the surrounding around you. The golden light of knowledge. The knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Still keeping your eyes closed, we shall recite a beautiful mantra for the Guru. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurue Namah. Just rub your palms. Bring your palms against your eyes. And very, very gently open your eyes. Thank you all very much. And welcome to today's chapter 8. We've already reached 8 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And today's is Akshar Brahma Yoga. Akshar Brahma Yoga is a yoga of distinction between the field and the knower of the field. Now, what is this field? The field is the philosophy of life which can help us quest our life. So the field is by remembering Lord Krishna in devotion throughout one's life, and especially at the time of death, one can attain his supreme abode, beyond, which is just beyond the material world. And this chapter is very interesting because it's going to explain to us what happens to us at the time of death. Now you see, this body is called Kshetra, and the knower of this body is called the Kshetragna. So this teaches us the distinction between the body and the knower of the body. As I told you last time, we have to learn to know who we are. We are striving to know everybody. She's like that, there's like that. We are being judgmental for everyone, but our own self. So we have to learn. Through this chapter is going to teach us how to learn to know who we are. Arjuna inquired in the first verse, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? And what are the fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain to me." So Arjuna is still in a dilemma. He's still asking questions after questions. You see in the all 7 chapters what was coming, questions and answers, questions and answers. Again here, Arjuna is asking the questions, so many questions, that what is this Brahman? What is the self? What is it? Have you ever asked yourself these questions? What are the fruitive activities and what is this material manifestation? What is it? Now, just by you even inquiring these questions, just like Arjuna did, Lord is very merciful. He will straight away give you the answers. How does this Lord of sacrifice live in the body? In which parts does he live? He's saying that where does Lord live in this body? O Madhusudan, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Okay, we are saying we are doing devotional service, we're doing a lot of meditation, we're doing a lot of other things. This is how at the time of death, and this is through sacrifice, right? So the Supreme Lord said the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman. So the indestructible, we are destructible, we are not called Brahman. But there's a difference between Brahma, Brahm and Brahman. That's 3 different things. You know, people mix it and Brahman. Brahmin is a caste, okay? Brahman is different. Brahm means illusion, right? And Brahma is the god of generator, right? There are three: generator, operator, destroyer. God stands for what? Generator is Lord Brahma, operator is Lord Vishnu, and destroyer is Lord Shiva. They are in charge of these fields in the body. So he's saying that and his eternal nature is called the self. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma or fruitive activities. Physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is cosmic form of the Supreme Lord. So the whole universe is what? It's just a whole universe is the cosmic form of the Lord. As I said last time, he said, see me in the water, see me in the fire, see me in the air, see me in the sky. You see him everywhere. Similarly, here the whole cosmic universe is a form of the Lord. And I am the Lord representing as a super soul dwelling in the heart of every living being. So we say he is within and he is without. What do you mean by that? Within means he is the heart, he is in your heart. Without is he's around you. And he says he's dwelling in everyone's heart. Just this picture shows you from childhood to youth to boyhood, everywhere the soul remains the same. Like there was a very nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Dehi no yasmin yatha dehi komara yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyate. As an embodied soul passes from, in this picture you can see from childhood, boyhood, youth, then it goes down, 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 down into old age. At the time of death, he gets another body. So, and whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, he says, there is no doubt. There is just no doubt about it. He is assuring us. Whatever state of being one remembers when he leaves this body, O son of Kunti, this state he will attain without fail. So whatever you think at the time of death, this is what you're going to attain. And so it says here that this is the law. What a man looks for at the hour of death, so he gets it. To that he does. The soul is fashioned in its like. The thought of a man's last moment determines his destiny. A man is transformed to that state which he bears in the mind when casting off this body. He whose soul at the hour of death is fixed in meditation, meditation of Om, meditation of the lotus feet of the Lord, on the Supreme Lord, on abandoning the body, comes to him after death. So you see, this is the law. What we always, we are always very scared of death. We think that, oh my God, and we don't even want to talk about it. We don't even want to discuss it. But it says, as sure as death. There's nothing as sure than death. So death is very beautiful, very beautiful. It's just a transmigration if you are prepared. But if you are not prepared, it's very, very scary, very scary. So this life, because we have died in so many lives and we've been reborn again. And that is why our subconscious mind is giving us that fear, because we have been under fearful conditions, and that's why we had to take birth again. If we were not under that fear, then we would have gone straight back home, back to Godhead. So it says that the soul who is thinking of Lord, who is meditating on his lotus feet, he at the time of death comes to him. Now, here some people might say that, oh, it's okay, let me do all sorts of nasty things. At the time of death, I will put some nice Om meditation or bhajans, and I will think of God. But it doesn't happen. Whatever you practiced, sometimes, I don't know whether you all have gone through this, but whatever you thought the whole day, that's what you dream of, right? When even like Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example that when a cloth merchant, even in the whole day he's measuring the cloth, cutting the cloth and selling. Even in his dreams sometimes, I mean, I know of somebody who said he's even doing that and he's trying to cut the cloth, even in his dreams, so his subconscious mind carries on. So what happens, at the time of death even he's thinking of the cloth, and he gets birth into a cloth merchant's house or whatever according to his karma. So similarly, a pianist, very, very good pianist, you see that he'll automatically become a better pianist or a dancer in his next life, and they get better birth in the next life. But that is again coming back into the prison. So do you want to keep on coming back into this prison house? This is a prison house. We want to get out of the shackles of birth, then disease, old age, and death. But we have to make our death very, very beautiful. There's a nice story which I'm going to relate to. It's the story of King Bharat. King Bharat was a very, very pious king. And then what happened is he decided that now I'm quite old enough and I want to quit, and I want to go in the forest, I want to go to the Himalayas, and I want to just surrender to God, and rest of my life I want to go into meditation, which is fine. So he quitted everything, he gave away all his kingdom, and he went in the forest. When he went in the forest, he was fine till then, but one day he saw a deer, right? A baby deer, and he fell in love. A mother gave birth to a baby deer, so he took that baby deer, and he really, really tried to, he brought the baby deer up. He was all the time thinking of this deer. Oh, where is the deer? Up to that level it was fine, but he went beyond meditation. He forgot how to do his devotional service. The only thing he was concerned about is the deer. Then he died, and then one day what happened? The deer grew big and saw so many deers and went away with the other deers. And in lamentation of the deer, King Bharat, this is a true story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he died. And he was just thinking of the deer, he forgot thinking of the Supreme Lord. But because he had already got that pious activities, what happened? In the next life, he became a deer because he was thinking of the deer. But in the state of the deer even, he knew his past life. So he was always in a very secluded this, and when he ended the birth of the deer, he got birth again, and it's called Jad Bharat, in a pious family, a Brahmin family, and he had a few brothers, and he used to just not be interested in anything. He didn't want to be attached to his brothers. He didn't want to be attached to the wealth of his father. He just didn't want. He was always aloof. He was always sitting, since childhood, he was always seated in the secluded place and, just meditating. And everybody thought he was mad. So when his father died, his brothers said, what are we going to do with this mad brother of ours? Let's just leave him in the forest, So they went in the forest and they left. He was young by then. And he was sitting in the forest just meditating. And one day what happened? A king was going with at that time they used to carry the king in a palanquin. So they were carrying the king in a palanquin, and one of the person who was carrying fell very sick and couldn't carry, so they had to put the palanquin down. And the king said, now where are we going to get a fourth person? And they saw Jad Bharat. So Jad Bharat they asked him, can you carry the palanquin? It's for the king. He says, okay. So he carried the palanquin, he was going, but he was looking down, he was not even stamping on an ant, and he kept on walking this way and that way and this way. So the palanquin kept on moving here and there, it just kept on moving. And the king said, "Stop! Who is this madman? He is making it worse, he's just shaking this palanquin, stop!" And they stopped, and he came out and he says, "Who are you? Are you mad?" And he just gave him one slap, and he says, "You're just mad. Look at the way you are walking." And he says, "O king, I am just trying to save these ants. There are many ants, and I'm just looking. I do not want to stamp on any ant." And the king said, "Why? I mean, ants, it's okay. What's wrong?" And he says, "No." And then he said, it's a whole Bhagavad, and then he related the whole Bhagavad Gita to this king, and he told him that, "Look, in my first life I was a king as well like you, but because of my attachment to the deer, I became a deer, and then I became Jad Bharat." It's called Jad. Jad means a bit mad. So, and people think I'm mad. It's fine. I prefer to be called a madman, but in this life I do not want to come back into this jail, into this prison house of birth, disease, old age, and death. And it's a very, very long lecture he gave to the king, when the king even realized, yes, what he's saying is the reality of life. The reality of life is that we have to make our preparation of the world above this world, an eternal world, not this temporary world, because everything is so temporary, and we are literally lamenting for little temporary things. We have to do our karmas, for sure. Don't give up your karmas, but don't be too attached to it, and don't keep on lamenting over it. Things happen, so be it. And so then ultimately, when he died, of course, the Lord came to take him back to his abode, and he went back home, back to Godhead. So this is, again, whoever thinks of him at the time of death, you can see this picture, and he goes to the kingdom of God. Therefore, Arjun, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. And